This is To the Point with Michael Williams.
Good morning. Florida Senate Bill 2508. It's about water use and quality, and it has had many interests from cities to agriculture, environmentalists, Lake Okeechobee fishermen out of Boyle. Now, though, a late week rework by Senate sponsors of the controversial bill that may be dialing back the heat. Critics had worried the original bill imperiled plans to send more water south from the lake and threatened restoration of the Everglades, including a huge new reservoir that's in the process of being built. And more water kept in the lake as a hedge against drought for thirsty coastal communities and farm cropland meant more potential for harmful algae-laden discharges east and west. But have all interested parties at least been mollified by a compromise now? We start with our Capitol reporter Forrest Saunders in Tallahassee.
SB 2508 is all about water. It seeks to ensure existing legal users of Lake O's H2O, like communities and growers, don't have supplies diminished, a real concern during times of drought.
Tourism is what runs our economy, and the water is what people typically come to Florida for.
But critics like this flotilla of fishermen where the Everglades will suffer. More algae, worse water quality, and less funding under its provisions. The group nabbing about 40,000 signatures for a petition to kill the bill, even getting the backing of the governor.
Most of these people that are here today, the vast majority of them make their living on the water.
The rally of opposition turning into relief Thursday.
They have listened. We are at the table. We are making a difference.
Following Senate changes seeking to ease concerns, the group saying they're now cautiously optimistic.
But as Ronald Reagan said, trust but verify.
Senator Ben Albritton offering an amendment to his bill, saying it's all about clarity after suffering mistruths.
We want to make sure that the people are taken care of, society is taken care of first.
The new language now leaves the 2017 Water Resources Law untouched, tweaks language that may have hindered the South Florida Water Management District, and makes clear the environment is a priority.
37 yeas, 2 nays, Mr. President.
So the bill passes.
The Senate approved the bill with a near unanimous vote, but the governor's office in a brief statement saying it's still mulling things. Quote, no deal has been made with the EOG. We received the bill late last night and are reviewing. The governor remains committed to protecting the Everglades. The House is the next step for now. Lawmakers there will also need to sign off on the plan if it's to become law. At the Capitol, Forrest Saunders, WPTV News Channel 5.
So what is local reaction? For more on that, we turn to WPTV's Matt Cesney.
Log the board and record the vote.
The vote wasn't even close. 37-2 in favor of passing SB 2508. The controversial bill, first written opponents say to upend Lake Okeechobee's water management plan, had a last-minute amendment that seemed to appease many opponents, including charter fishermen who traveled up to the Capitol.
The major concern in my area certainly is the EAA reservoir and stopping the releases from Lake Okeechobee.
State Senator Gail Harrell of Stewart voted yes after getting assurances from the bill's sponsor that the EAA reservoir project won't be affected and algae won't come down the St. Lucie River.
Is in any way this going to result in more harmful discharges to the St. Lucie River?
Senator Albritton, you're recognized.
I don't believe so, no.
We just have to wonder what's motivating this and who's behind it.
Eve Samples, executive director of Friends of the Everglades, says there are parts of the bill that still worry clean water advocates, including allowing public utilities to expedite wetland dredging and fill projects and setting into law 15-year-old rules on low water management.
These water shortage rules that really protect Big Sugar and other agricultural water users would be protected in state law itself, and that can harm the environment.
The bill, only introduced last week, came as a surprise to many, including the governor. Among the two no votes was Democrat Gary Farmer of Fort Lauderdale.
I'm still trying to digest it all, though. It is so complicated.
Matt Cesney, WPTV News Channel 5.
An important note before I read the statement I made, as did Matt Cesney, repeated request for an on-camera response from U.S. Sugar and Florida Crystals, seen by environmentalists as key forces behind efforts to guarantee their water supply for sugar cropland south of the Big Lake. Neither company offered anyone to speak. Florida Crystals released a statement after yesterday's rework, or late week rework of the bill, saying, quote, we support the Florida Senate's action that reaffirmed its commitment to ensure important projects like the EAA reservoir are built. Florida Crystals is proud, it went on to say, of our positive collaboration with the South Florida Water Management District over the last 5 years that has ensured a timely transition of land from food production to water storage. And we remain committed to facilitating the EAA reservoir's expedited construction schedule. We hope sugar growers, U.S. Sugar and Florida Crystals, will agree to an interview. We'll keep asking. Meanwhile, Everglades advocates credit the support of Governor Ron DeSantis for helping strip out language from the Senate bill they say would have derailed water use and restoration plans crafted by many for years. I talked with Eric Eikenberg, president and CEO of the Everglades Foundation, after he arrived back from Tallahassee.
Wednesday night, 2508, as originally introduced, changed dramatically with an amendment to strike a variety of provisions in the law that would set back the momentum that we've been achieving on Everglades restoration now for the last number of years. Case in point, we've been fighting, a number of people have been fighting for a reservoir south of Lake Okeechobee. And 2508, in the language it was offering, was going to set that back and not give it the priority that it deserves and that the Florida legislature had previously afforded it. Secondly, the Lake Okeechobee water management schedule that the Army Corps released in September is a very balanced plan. All users are going to be treated equal. The sugar industry in particular is no longer at the front of the line. That balanced plan is what Governor DeSantis wanted. This legislation was going to try to derail that. The amendment filed on Wednesday night, which was taken up on Thursday, it reverses that course, and we remain focused to get Everglades restoration completed.
My understanding is essentially what the bill originally was going to do, whereas sending more water south's been a goal to clean it, treat it, send it to the Everglades, would have kept more water in the lake as a hedge against drought. Agriculture interests were said to be pushing hard for that. Some cities as well. And I want you to speak to that critique from cities. So you had agriculture interest, including sugar interest, and cities saying, wait a minute, we want more water held in the lake. The concern was that would negate sending water south. It would also mean for the Treasure Coast and its estuaries the potential for more discharges east and west. That's a fair sort of 100,000 foot view of what the original bill would do. What guarantees that that doesn't happen all over again down the road?
Well, I think you're also referring to one city, but there have been multiple cities that have been ravaged by toxic blue-green algae from Lake Okeechobee that gets dumped east and west fairly too often, and we see the damaging impacts of those discharges. And then there's cities to the south, Broward, Miami-Dade, the Florida Keys, that are desperate for this water to flow south. So what the Lake Okeechobee System Operating Manual with the Army Corps of Engineers and the Water Management District was going to treat all cities, all users, including sugar, including agriculture, and the Everglades on equal footing. What Senate Bill 2508 in its original form was going to keep water in the lake for the sugar industry. Thankfully, countless voices stood up to say enough is enough. We're not going to allow this to happen. And the Senate last Thursday rectified their decision, and it's been stripped out of the bill.
You heard what Florida Crystals had to say in a statement. We're all for the EAA reservoir. Your response?
Well, they need to drop the 3 lawsuits that they filed in August. The sugar industry, Florida Crystals, United States Sugar Corporation, they filed 3 suits in federal court to delay the EAA reservoir issues with the Lake Okeechobee schedule. A year ago, they tried in Congress to thwart the issues related to Lake Okeechobee. So this has been a continuous effort by the industry to hold as much water in the lake as possible. The Florida Keys, Florida Bay, the Everglades, the water supply for 9.5 million people in South Florida, the fishing, boating, real estate, are desperate to move water south. That's what this is all about. And the good news is Governor DeSantis has been crystal clear. Foot draggers are not going to get in the way. Restoration of the Everglades, protection of our water supply is number one.
In our final time, can we meet all the needs? We have water wars going on around the country. Politics change. You said in comments in Tallahassee, we've got a victory for now, but trust but verify. Things can change yet again. You also have the ongoing fight between increasingly thirsty cities, the needs of the Everglades, the needs of agriculture. Can all of those needs be met effectively, in your opinion? Bottom line on where we are going forward after today.
They must. Those needs must be met. The 21st century economy in this state is generated by tourism. This is a tourism heavy sector here in our state. 118 million people just last year, tourists that came to Florida. We cannot keep putting new straws in the existing water supply. We receive a tremendous amount of water each year, but we waste it. We waste billions of gallons of water. Everglades restoration, when it's fully implemented and constructed, stores, cleans, and sends that water south. It recharges the aquifer. This is a win-win for everyone. And I just want to say that the fishing guides, the boat manufacturers, the chambers of commerce, the realtors, all these folks that stood up over the last 2 weeks to push back on 2508, it worked. And the days of getting rolled are over. We need Everglades restoration to become a reality. We're getting close.
You said trust but verify. Final thought, you feel good legislatively that this will stick?
We do. There's some issues that need to be addressed. The Senate, in its debate on Thursday, talked about removing some additional language in the bill. We have 40-some-year-old rules that are on the books. These rules cannot dictate how water is managed. So we want to make sure that there is language that needs to still come out of this bill. Senator Pasadomo from Naples, we had Democrats in the Senate also commit to this. Hopefully it's a bipartisan effort to remove that last piece. The budget conference will enable that to happen and get a clean bill to the governor potentially by the end of session.
A local environmentalist weighs in on the water bill and our water future next.